But first at 6, a gun battle on the high seas. A private speedboat from Florida up against a Cuban patrol boat. And tonight, 4 people are dead on the American boat. A Cuban commander is also wounded.
Some fast-breaking events this evening unfolding off the shore of Cuba. And U.S. officials just pledged to find the facts and to respond accordingly. Investigative reporter Chuck Goudie tonight is in the newsroom with the late developments from Havana and from the U.S. State Department. Chuck?
Stephen, Allison, 4 people on a private boat are dead. We know that. We also know that motorboat is registered out of Florida and appears to be a 24-foot consumer speedboat. There were 10 people on board the private vessel this morning when it was intercepted by a Cuban maritime patrol offshore the north side of the island state, and there was a shootout. These encounters have happened before, not always violent. This video from last July showing a similar boat that had been rented in Key West confronted by Cuban forces. No shots. The American boater taken into Cuban custody. Today, according to this statement from Interior Ministry officials in Havana, it says people on today's speedboat opened fire on the Cuban patrol, wounding a commander. They claim the Cubans returned fire, killing 4. The island is regularly guarded by patrol boats like this, aimed at preventing Americans from coming in to pick up refugees. And with 10 people on that small pleasure boat, that will be among the first items checked by U.S. authorities. In Miami tonight, here the U.S. Coast Guard is investigating, and American officials say they need to examine the speedboat and speak with survivors. So far, that hasn't happened. And with decaying relations between Havana and Washington, the State Department isn't certain where the survivors are, what has happened to the dead, who they are, or where they're from. Coincidentally, Secretary of State Marco Rubio in the Caribbean today, meeting with regional leaders and discussing America's oil blockade on Cuba. Here's what he had to say a short time ago about Cuba's deadly run-in with a U.S. speedboat.
It is highly unusual to see shootouts in open sea like that. It's not something that happens every day. It's something, frankly, that hasn't happened with Cuba in a very long time. But we're going to find out. We're not going to base our conclusions on what they've told us. And I'm very, very confident that we will know the full story of what happened here.
The first order of business will be to determine whether the 4 dead are Americans, their names, and what they were doing in Cuban waters off the northwest coast. How this incident actually came down will shape whether it becomes an international crisis or is yet another component to a deteriorating relationship with our neighbor nation just 90 miles away. Allison.
All right, Chuck, we know you're on the story to get more answers. Thank you.